Hey, welcome back. This is Matt Grohl from Vista Homes. Excited to have you join us today. Last week we talked about excavation, so we've dug this beautiful hole. Now it's time to put foundation and footings inside that hole. So the first thing we do is, once the hole is dug, remember we talked about the surveyor come back, he's going to remark the bottom of that hole where the corners of the walls will be. That way we know we get them placed just right. We're then going to put footings. So a footing is essentially about 18 to 24 inches wide, 10 inches tall around all the perimeter walls of the house. We're going to have it below the bearing walls. We're going to have it below the staircases. So that is going to have two pieces of rebar going continuous throughout the whole footing. And so that's a pretty easy process. Typically takes a day to set up and a day to pour and a day to pull all the forms off to grade it for foundation. So a pretty straightforward process. We use a 3000 PSI concrete for this. So it's not like really nice concrete per se for like finish, so you get a nice cosmetic finish, but it's very structural and perfect for footings. So the next thing we're gonna do, once they pull those forms off from the footings, then we put foundation walls up. So typical foundation walls are 8 to 10 feet high, 8 inches thick. We have both vertical and horizontal rebar. We can go higher. Typically we can go up to around 14, 16 feet in a residential scenario without having too much of a mess with our engineers. So we'd have to go back, have the engineers redesign those walls if we have to adjust them based on some excavation issues. So that would mean instead of an 8-inch wall, it could be 10, 12 inches with more rebar closer together. So it can get costly pretty quick. So we try not to do that unless we absolutely have to. As we're setting up those foundation forms, we'll block out the cold storage door if you have a cold storage vent. All your windows that are in your foundation wall that you might have a window well around, they have these nice little metal bucks that you just screw right into the foundation form, so the concrete goes right around it, gives a nice clean finish around there. So that's something you can do as well. If there's any passageway we need for water lines or anything like that, we'll do that then, because it's a lot easier to put a small little tube in a foundation before you pour it than core hole drill a concrete, and a lot cheaper and easier. So we try to think of those things in advance. So then we also have to get straps in those foundation walls. So we have these, what they call tie down straps. So what they do, essentially they hook on the top piece of horizontal rebar in the foundation wall when it's still wet. And then once we frame that house on top of it, that strap is then nailed to the framing of the home, and that essentially ties the house down to the foundation wall. So those are all, again, called out by code, what kind of strap and what location. So our foundation guys put those in for us, so we don't have to worry about it. It takes about 7 days for a foundation wall to cure. What that means is it's strong enough that we can put equipment start backfilling against it with equipment. So we really have to follow that 7-day rule minimum, because it can just create a lot of problems, called micro cracking and just all kinds of issues. So we have to be really careful with that backfilling. And another thought there is, if you have a foundation wall and it's in an empty basement on this side and you're backfilling all this material, and let's say you're compacting it, you're putting a lot of horizontal force on that wall. And so if you don't have anything this way, you just have to be really careful. So we do that in tiers. We'll do a little compaction at a time. And so we have to be really careful, because you can create a big mess really fast if you haphazardly go into that. So anyways, that's kind of our wrap up of footings and foundation. So you can see in this video here, we've done some drone footage of the project we're working on. You can see the footings and foundation going in. So again, subscribe, like us, ask any questions below the feed. We'd love to get some feedback. Thanks for joining us today. See ya.